There are many, many different ways for an individual to spend their days. Many, many, many ways. I like to spend my days doing a variety of things. One of them is to consult the stars and offer forecasts. And this forecast is about an interesting time period. And I could, of course, show you the chart, and I think visually it does interest people to see it, but I got other shit I gotta do. So for now, we're gonna talk quickly. We're gonna talk concisely. And how do we do that? Well, we start by talking about the sun, the masculine energy. That steady life force. The thing that keeps us here, day in and day out. Continuously funneling energy. That sun has just moved into Aries moments ago. That's where the new moon is going to be. The sun in Aries, an exalted sun, a doer. Why is it that way? Well, because the days are going to start getting longer in the northern hemisphere, and that's where the majority of the people have lived. So it's a time to do shit. It's a time to go in the direction, any direction, to move, to push through. It's the beginning of spring, right? We haven't gotten to the flowers blooming yet. No. We haven't gotten to playing in the flowers with the people. No. This is still a little cold, but that's about to change. We've won. We're doing us. We're going in the direction we want to go. The individualistic. The child begins somewhere. There is, of course, linear time, and then there's the circle of time. When you think about linear time, that's a truth to a degree, because I don't seem to be able to go backwards in time. Like, I can't become a baby. Like, I can't get younger. I get older. I'm not saying that isn't true, but with astrology, we're talking about cyclical patterns, things that transcend. So while my monkey creature body will have an end, right? We can see the cycle of baby growing into a kid, growing into a young adult, growing into an adult, growing into a, middle-aged person, growing into a upper middle-aged person, growing into an old person, growing into a really old person, growing to a dying person. And then, there's systems that believe in reincarnation and all that kind of stuff, which is a separate thing, but can we see the circle of life? Can we see the patterns? Yes, I just talked about it. I've witnessed people at different stages of it. But this person, this creature, this Caleb, what does Caleb need to do? What do you need to do? It's probably unique to just you, and Aries is about doing that unique thing right now for yourself. Is it breathing? Where do you need to be shining that light? You're doing something. You're giving off some sort of energy. You're eating something. You're sleeping somewhere. You're pushing forward in some fashion towards something. You're giving your energy to something. What is it? Is there a wrong or a right way? Yeah, we can use that terminology, but we're always doing something. There's a magnanimous energy that sometimes gets used for good, sometimes for evil. How are you using yours? The moon is at the same place as the sun. Moon in Aries, to me, is interesting. So if you go look out at the sky right now, you wouldn't be able to see the moon at night. So the moon is very mysteriously hidden from our gaze. Wait, wasn't there a big bright full moon? Yeah, we'll go look for it now. Nowhere to be seen. It represents the feminine. What happens when the feminine is in this go, do? Well, can feminine energy, can receptive, responsive, like, can the feminine energy operate with masculine energy. It's trickier. It's trickier because it's not as easy for me to think about, because there's a momentum and a warrior quality that rules over Aries, right? So when you have masculine sun energy there, it's like boom, big time, do or go now, Aries. Momentum, push through, longer days, all that jazz. But then the moon, more elusive. Close to home, we've been to the moon, we've touched it, it's right there. We've begun to settle into like the rough physical form, you know, like the moon is so, to me it represents better the body, because we know things about the body. We can move about on the moon's surface. We can touch it. There's something very tangible to the moon, which you can't say about the sun. We just can't get close to it. It's too powerful. It's like, it's at a distance, whereas the moon is right there. When we look up at the heavens at night, on a full moon, you'll see that the sun and the moon, based off just general size, are about the same size, which is remarkable. The moon's just far enough away from us that it appears to be the same size as the sun. How delightful is that symmetry? In my opinion, it's very delightful. Moon in Aries. Well, if it was a full moon in Aries, you know, to me, then that would mean that the physical body would be shining back a great deal of that light from the sun, so we could see it. But because the moon is invisible right now, there's no light shining back from this Aries sun. None of it. We can't see any of it. I would say the body, this is, the new moon time is one of almost less manifested expression with the body. It's the time for maybe thinking about what you'd like to do with your body, or thinking about, what is it that I'd like to achieve? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? Just maybe tune in. That would be a more new moon time. It's a less time for big action, more of a time for, what shall I start next? What can I, in this, there is this necessary sun energy that I have to give off. I have to make choices. But like, at the same time as I'm going through my day-to-day, what new thing do I want to do? What new project would be good for me, good for my community? What's a harmonious thing I could explore? There's this sense of wanting to go deeper with these symbols, right? So, sun and moon in Aries, ruled over by Mars. And Mars is in Gemini. Ooh, almost out of Gemini, thankfully. So this Mars and Gemini energy, this warrior energy going towards learning, chatting, connecting, being curious, just touching things, grabbing things, exploring things. I'm getting the image of my little niece just painting the wall with water, you know? It's like, just doing, going. There's this learning, communicative, intelligent component that we can start to see in even the youngest humans. But as we become, aware of this dialogue that's possible and the duality of the universe, intellectually approaching things from two sides, like, this is a book that was written by Ken Wilber, you know, like, it says The Spirit of Evolution. I've rented it from the library now for a few months. It's really like full of just so much to learn. So using my energy to like really explore this novel, to really explore ideas, is something that I could do. But it's not, to me this book is more Aquarius vibes as opposed to Gemini. Gemini is more hands-on learning. It's more talking with another person. It's more sending messages. It's more, I'm not saying that reading and exploring isn't part of this energy, but this is a bit, it is part of it, but it's like there, it's more flighty. It's like read a chapter of this and then go and exercise a little bit, and then like it's more fluid. It's a little busier, if that makes sense. Multitasking, not necessarily, because most people don't effectively multitask, I don't think, but like doing a little of this, a little of that, a little of this, so that way your day is filled with things that are sort of helping you grow and enhance, hopefully not just your own life, but the people around you. That kind of curious, exploring, learning, doing kind of energy. Reading, writing, playing guitar. Like I have a lot of things that I could try and do. So yeah, that Mars and Gemini energy is ruled over by Mercury. Mercury in Aries. So we're going back to this momentous now, moving forward, confidently going in the direction that you want to go. Now, you can't see Mercury right now either. In fact, Mercury is oftentimes hidden behind the sun. Oftentimes. Truthfully. Because it's so close to the sun. It's in between the sun. No, excuse me. The sun and Earth. It's in between the sun and Earth. So because of that, it's a little more sporadic. The sun is so bright that if you try to look at the sun, it's maybe even bad for your eyes, according to my father, who's studied the eyes, that it's not a good idea to stare directly at all that intense light. Some people say that they do it. I mean, I just don't think you should probably stare at the sun. Like during eclipses, they recommend you wear a little protective eye gear. Like this is, I can't control you, but Jesus, like why do you need to look at the sun so much? Like what necessity is that serving? So Mars rules over Aries, Mercury rules over Gemini. So really, we don't have to explore any further. There's no other planets and archetypes. It's almost like for this reading, that's enough. Like it's enough for you to pick a few things. And I do think it is a few things, people, places, things to explore and learn and connect with, engage with mentally. A few things, not more, not less. Venus is in Taurus right now, so there's a little bit of comfortability and stuff going towards like our day-to-day routines, but Uranus has still been hanging out there, providing need for transformation and sudden jolts. So yeah, that may be happening. What else? So we've done Mars, Mercury, the Sun, the Moon, and Venus. So now Saturn just moved into Pisces. It'll be there for a few years. So it's the god of restriction and limitations has left its home territory of Aquarius and Capricorn, where it's been for many years. So yeah, that restriction is coming to the dreamy collective part. It's almost like, yes, the ocean is very vast and you are but one fish in that sea, but that fish will die. That particular vastness has a looming deathly presence inside of it too. Like death, in some ways, Saturn in Aquarius is detached and steady death, but it was in the realm of ideas and scientific advancement, I think, and planting patterns and executing like traditional sort of effective systems of thought. Like that's this to me, like this Aquarius energy. It's like coming up with a structure and a system for helping to navigate efficiently. That energy, which has been such a signature of the past several years, like it was almost always where things ended. Now that's changed. It really is a different time. It's a different time of the story that I'm inspired to tell is different. At the very least, that rigid, restrictive energy still, of course, exists, but I don't think it's going to have as strong of a, at least on a collective level. Pisces is still collective, don't get me wrong, but it's like it's things that the Aquarius Saturn absolutely would not allow. There's probably a way around it in Pisces. Like there's whatever that, the ocean is so big that it's like this is terrible, but like if we deplete a certain species in the ocean, like if we introduce some sort of toxin or some sort of thing that just kills off huge numbers of species, let's say it destroys the whole ocean, let's say like humans end up just pillaging even worse the vast network of life systems and the different varieties. Let's say we just end up wiping most of them out because of our stupidity and our wild breeding and our negligence to just those ecosystems. Life's gonna keep probably going. I mean, at least until the sun gives out or expands so much that it makes it life impossible at all. But yeah, like the ocean's big. There's a momentum. I keep saying a momentum to life, or an inertia. But again, the idea of inertia being the right word. Is it the right word? Is it what I'm trying to accomplish? Well, boundaries, limitations, they of course still exist. But there's a little bit of, it's, boundaries can only work so much. You can only protect yourself for so long. There's a, I don't want to be fatalistic because, of course, I don't know what the future holds, but good luck trying to breathe underwater without some sort of equipment to help you. Good luck getting in a sailboat without having any idea how to make it work. Like, we probably could figure it out. People are pretty smart. Some people might figure it out. Some people, they drowned. They get lost at sea. Like, let's say flying a plane. I played some video games. If I had to, if there was no one else in the plane, I had to try to fly the plane, you bet I'd try. But, yeah, there's just certain things that having rigid, structured, and boundaries benefit. But we don't always have those. Sometimes we get thrust into a new experience. A new current takes us somewhere new. So I think that's happening. I think that shift is happening in the star charts. So my stories need to reflect it. And Saturn moves very slow, so it might take me a while to get the right way of talking about this down. I'm sure by the end of my Saturn in Pisces narrations, orations, the story will be a little more clear, but especially that Neptune's in Pisces. It doesn't help clear things up. But so Aries has the Sun and the Moon and Mercury. Taurus has Venus and Uranus. Mars has Gemini. I don't think there's anything in Cancer right now. It's, of course, ruled over by the moon, so whatever Cancer people are having to move with the Aries momentum. Leo, same thing. It rules the sun. Nothing in Leo right now, I don't think. What are we missing? Oh, Jupiter. Yeah, how could I forget Jupiter? Jupiter is... Is it in Taurus right now? Or is it in Aries still? I'm actually not 1,000% sure. I'm not the best astrologer, but I haven't been able to keep track of that. Well, has Jupiter moved into Taurus? I don't think so. I think Jupiter is still in Aries. I'm pretty confident. But maybe not. This is interesting because, of course, astrology is a story, and it doesn't matter if I get it right, but a part of me wishes that I knew where Jupiter was right now with like 100% certainty. Even though I know it's a human man-made system, but a part of me is like, you should know where Jupiter fucking is. And I think it's in Aries. Chiron is at like 14 degrees of Aries. Where is Jupiter? Where is Jupiter? I think it's in Aries. I think it's in Aries. I'll find out after I let go of this, but that expansiveness, that teacher, that guru, it's an individualistic energy. It's in that same beginning of the spring cycle constellation. It's the ram, it's horned and charging forward. It's someone pushing forward with their momentum. Man, what do I need to push forward toward? What do I need to do? What do I choose? What do you choose? We've done Jupiter, we've done Saturn, we've done Mars, we've done Venus, we've done the Sun, we've done the Moon, we've done Mercury, we've done Neptune, we've done Uranus, Pluto. Is it even a planet? Is this something to consider or not? Is it worth doing or not? Does it affect me or not? Pluto's karmically tied to some people. And for others, not so much. Especially younger people. They're not taught about this planet because it's a dwarf planet. Oh, it's not called. I mean, it's interesting. When I was a kid, Pluto was a planet. Now it's a dwarf planet. But the reality is Pluto was always Pluto. See the energy around it, it's interesting. What is this? What's it supposed to represent? It's supposed to represent atomic. It's to me, if this is our experience, this is the very edge. Like, is light a wave or a particle? It's both. Wait, like this is, our deepest periphery. And it's about to leave Capricorn, and it moves painfully slow. Like you thought Saturn moves slow, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Very, very slow. Pluto, incredibly, decades. This is like such a subtle collective shifting. It's moving into Aquarius. This subatomic almost Capricorn energy, ruled over by Saturn, of course, moving into Aquarius, also ruled over by Saturn. So of like the different shifts, it's like what have the past few decades, the first, Pluto was in Scorpio when I was born, so it was in Sagittarius whenever I was like in the middle of my like young adult stage, and Capricorn was the becoming an adult stage. So what can I say has shifted big time in that period? Well, I think the biggest shift has had to do with technology becoming integrated deeply into the psyches of. It was always there was always television and that kind of thing, but that's more Neptune, and it's Neptune was in Capricorn when I was born. Moved through Aquarius, now it's in Pisces. Almost in Aries. It's interesting. It's interesting. Thinking about my linear experience of life and time in relationship with these massive heavenly bodies. Somehow I'm able to sit still here. I mean, I'm not being still, I'm sort of wobbling, thinking, sharing ideas, practicing free expression, just spilling open. Technology seems to be the biggest thing that's changed based off my understanding of what humans are like. It's not really. Maybe that's Uranus and Taurus. I don't know. Electricity is associated with. This is different. Pluto, I don't know. When it gets to the outer planets, it seems to be going so transcendental and so big that it's almost, I don't know. I like working with individuals. I like working with individuals more than I like doing super collective things, personally. But as a creative challenge, Pluto and Capricorn. I think since like 2008-ish. It seems like the infrastructure of like how work is also shifting. Like technology has changed it, so we're working from home more. Like it's like, it feels more isolated. It feels like communities are getting kind of more and more destabilized in a way. So if Pluto's basically just being like, we're gonna break up this, the way that things have been for a long time, those structures, we're just gonna just slowly shift them, super slowly shift them. So since Saturn in Aquarius, which is coming next, is still all concerned about boundaries, but it's like it's been in a feminine sign. Now it's going to go into a masculine sign. So it's like, to me, it's Earth is about routine and what we're doing in our day to day, whereas Aquarius is more about what we're thinking and sort of maybe believing as a collective. So it's like the transformation it's been poking at us and like causing challenges to like our every day-to-day experience. And then now that it's going in Aquarius soon for a bit, and then it'll go back for, yeah, but now maybe how we're talking and our ideas are going to be the thing that are like, is that my idea? Is that not my idea? Is this how our society's going to do it? I like bringing that waffling energy to Pluto. Should we consider this? Should we not? Like, it's very subtle, but it's in the periphery. It's in the periphery. Like, should we have a total structural change? Like, should the way we do everything be different? It's like a question almost that Pluto is asking. But yeah, Pluto and Saturn got a lot of time in this forecast because they're slower. They're concepts to sit with for over greater periods. I don't need to have it all figured out right now. I don't need to know how to talk about everything. But my lips are chapped. I'm gonna drink water. Light, love, and the snakes bite you all.